What's up, guys? Bosch is back here, and right now I'm going to give some tips for beginners as far as someone who's getting into vaping. Not necessarily e cigs, but vaping. Specifically, vaping. Um, so let's jump right into it. Um, as far as, let's talk about juice. My juice suggestions. Well, if some of you don't know what steeping is when the actual juice will sit and get stronger. I'm not quite sure if it has to do with nicotine. I should probably look that up. But basically, it will get stronger as time goes on. If you're a beginning vapor, and if you're a beginning vapor and and you get juice, and you're not going to be vaping that juice if you're still smoking cigarettes, or if you're just a vapor who vapes occasionally. If you're going to get juice, my suggestion would be to stay away from caramels and coffees, um, in like lattes, stuff like that, cappuccinos, specifically because I found that they steep so much quicker for some odd reason than other juices that I've had. I'm a dessert flavor guy. I love dessert flavors. Actually, believe it or not, the flavor that I'm running in this one right now is from Northwest Finest, and it's called Rockin' Seas. But what it actually is red, white, and blue popsicle. Smashing, great shit. I'm vaping the shit out of it. Some other stuff that I'm vaping on, I'm sure you've already seen. Still got some lemon cheesecake. I vape that quite quickly. Still have some very berry slushy from Vaporfy. I've been thinking about getting some oatmeal raisin cookie. So as far as flavors go, if your juice is gonna sit, avoid chocolate or anything like that. Also, if you're gonna be a vapor and not just an e-cig smoker, don't go with menthols. Do not go with menthols. People don't quite understand, I guess, fully when they first get into this, that this is strong, very strong, a lot stronger than people who blow these big ass clouds make it seem. Um, in this tank right now, I have the red, white, and blue popsicle, the Rockin' Seas. Great shit, tastes amazing. And so tip number two. Tip number two for a beginning vapor is don't go and blow a shit ton of money on stuff that you think is good. Go and spend $50 on a box mod, a regulated box mod, by the way. You should know a little bit about ohms and sub-ohm building before you go and try to build your own coils and stuff like that. That's a big suggestion for me. Thankfully, I had friends who taught me what sub-ohms were and you know, the resist, everything that goes into what really comes out with vaping. Today, I had a big problem with my tanks, which leads me into my next tip. I had a problem with a stuck tank, and I fucking broke my baby beast. I broke the glass on it, which is rather unfortunate, and I'm pretty pissed off about it. It's stuck, and I tried freezing it. That didn't quite work. I'm gonna try the boiling again, to see if that works, and I can just throw new glass on here. Keep in mind, folks, I've had this for 4 months, probably, at least as long as I've had this. And for it to last that long with the same glass, obviously I've changed the coils, but the same glass, the same O-rings, it's done me good. And believe it or not, the bottom of it is my lucky number, so I'm not going to give up on this little guy. 11 and ones in a row are always my lucky numbers, and this one just so happens to be 0111. Very lucky number for me. So I'm not going to get rid of that guy. I am really disappointed as far as it cracking. It didn't break necessarily, it just cracked, but that bummed me out. So, that being said, I would suggest getting yourself some kind of rubber gloves. A lot of people recommend like the kitchen gloves. I've been using these, and they have treated me fine. A lot of people get really frustrated, including myself, when my tank doesn't open and I'm trying to change my coils, and now I've got burnt coils, my tanks won't open, and I'm frustrated. This frustrated me a lot today as well. Thankfully, I got it open. Juice went everywhere. I had a full tank of juice in here. I didn't realize I had burnt my coil that bad. It was completely by accident. It must have pocket fired when I didn't realize it was. And that really bummed me out. So a big suggestion would be to get yourself some gloves like these, or definitely some silicone or rubber kitchen gloves. That is a big suggestion for me. Another suggestion is, if you're going to get into vaping as far as quitting smoking cigarettes, keep your shit charged, folks. Keep your shit charged, because you don't realize how much you're going to want to hit your vape when you start vaping. It's not like it's developing a new habit. I mean, technically it is, but you're gonna find yourself wanting to vape just as much as you want to smoke a cigarette if you are quitting smoking cigarettes. Now, there's people out there that are vaping zero nicotine, and that's another thing that we're gonna get into. But there are people out there who are vaping zero nicotine and are totally fine. They don't have to really worry about steeping too bad, and they're not quitting cigarettes. Now, for someone who's quitting cigarettes, another big pro tip for me would be, I'm not saying I'm a pro, just a tip. Another tip for me definitely would be, if you're vaping, don't get anything above 3 milligrams of nicotine. That is the dripping level of nicotine. That's what people drip with. Which tanks and drippers are different, but anything sub-ohm, I would not go above 3 milligrams of nicotine, and recommended if you are a beginning vapor, especially if you don't smoke cigarettes and you're going to get into smoking nicotine, vaping nicotine, excuse me, which I don't suggest, by the way. Nicotine is a devil. But if you are, you can even get 1.5 milligrams of nicotine, and that is something that I would really, really, really suggest doing and thinking about before you get your vape and after you get your vape. Aside from that, I think that's going to conclude this video. Just a few tips from me, from what I've learned. I'm not a master vapor. I'm not the best in the world. I don't know everything there is to know. I just want people to know what I already do know. One big thing for me was stuck tanks, and the 2 tips are freeze it and try that way. Well, 3 tips. 3 tips are freeze it, boil it, rubber gloves. If you can't do it that way, you're kind of fucking fucked. You know what I mean? There's nothing else that you can do. Aside from that, let's take a puff together. That goddamn red, white, and blue popsicle treating me right. So that's all, folks. That's going to wrap this video up, and I really appreciate everybody stopping by once again. Leave comments, leave likes. It is what it is. I'm not looking for publicity. I just was looking for something to do, and it turns out that this is something that I'm really interested in, and I think that the community of vaping and also vlogging as far as vaping is really, really, really big, and I really appreciate everybody's time. Take care, y'all.